A potential scandal brewing beneath the Capitol Rotunda in Austin. Ultra-conservative activist Michael Quinn Sullivan has accused Republican House Speaker Dennis Bonnen of what some are seeing as a form of backroom bribery. Now, as reported by both Breitbart and the Texas Tribune, Sullivan claims Bonnen offered House media credentials to writers for his Texas Scorecard website in exchange for, among other things, orchestrated online attacks against 10 sitting Republican representatives in the 2020 primary elections. Bonnen has said Sullivan is mistaken and wrote a letter to each member accusing the Empower Texas leader of conspiring to, quote, create chaos and ultimately destroy the Republican House majority. A Democratic House member I spoke with, and who will remain anonymous, called the entire situation bizarre. Okay, full disclosure. Let's go to Charles Blaine. You used to work for Michael Quinn Sullivan, right?
I did. I worked with Michael for about 4 years, so I know him well. I know Empower Texans well, and this situation is bizarre. It's very odd, and I think everybody should take a step back and realize that this is an allegation to be sure, but Michael is alleging that he is a victim here, that he was called into this meeting and was given, was offered something in exchange for something else. And the way that a lot of Texas media has been reluctant to cover this or has covered it somewhat one-sided, I don't think that would have been the case if this was just an average citizen without a platform who was alleging that a government official was attempting to bribe them or whatever the case is. So still an allegation. There's a lot I'm sure more will be coming out. I'm sure we have a lot to learn here. He released the letter that Bonnen sent to him. We haven't seen anything else yet, but I think everybody should be paying attention. This isn't just political. I think this is a bigger issue.
Okay, Chris Tritico, you've looked at this too.
Right. If this turns out to be true, I think it does absolutely fit the Texas bribery statute, which is a second-degree felony, up to 20 years in prison. But this is beyond that, is just what I said a few weeks ago. The Republicans, instead of trying to attack themselves, ought to be looking at the demographics of this state and the fact that they're about to lose control. And instead of attacking within, they ought to be looking at how they're going to keep control of the state, and they're not.
Michelle?
Anytime we have a he said, she said, or hear a he said, I always seem to think that the truth is somewhere in the middle. I'm not real sure that I believe MQS, and I'm not real sure I believe our speaker either. And none of us are naive to think that these sort of shenanigans never happen. Of course they happen. It's politics, right? And this is just a juicy, juicy story. But come on, Republicans, we can do better than this.
No, you can't.
Wayne, what's your instinct on this?
So I will just share that I've only talked to this guy once, this Bonnen, Speaker of the House guy, and he was a jerk to me, okay? So having given that full disclosure, he is not naive. Whether or not it happened exactly the way your old friend said it, this guy, Bonnen, is not a nice guy, and I don't buy his letter. If you didn't do it, you say, I didn't do it. Right. You don't weasel word it, which is exactly what he did. And if he did it, then he ought to step down. I don't care who gets the job.
There are a lot of people who think Dennis Bonnen's a good guy.
Well, I'm sure he's, look, like Pete Olson, I'm sure he's lovely too. I'm just saying that around the Capitol, people say he's very mean. So I don't buy this whole, gee, I didn't really think it happened kind of thing. Give me a break.
Carmen, you read the reporting. Mm-hmm. What's your take?
I think the letter that he wrote is exactly what his lawyer tell him to write. Until more evidence comes out, I would stay right where he is. I also think that this is an evidentiary problem. Unless there's a recording out there, we're never going to know who said what and who promised who what.
Except there was another guy in the room.
15 seconds for you to cheer.
It is fascinating to watch this Republican circular firing squad.